Hey, what is up guys? Eric Thane here from Cinema Mastery, and today we're going to be talking about my top 5 business books for filmmakers. Let's do it. All right, so whether you are a beginner filmmaker or a more advanced filmmaker who's growing a production company or building your business, books can be one of the greatest sources of knowledge when it comes to running a business of anywhere that you can find it. I was able to find and learn more about business principles and learning how to grow a business from books more so than anywhere else. And so especially if you're just starting out in your business, and even if you're more advanced, I would highly recommend looking to books to get the information that you need to learn how to run a business. Because when it comes down to it, the principles of business and sales and marketing are really the same across the board, regardless of what type of business you're running. And so, a lot of filmmakers will look at this and be like, hey, well, I need business books that are related specifically to filmmaking. And you're gonna find that these books on my list are actually not filmmaking books. They're just business books, right? And so those principles of sales and marketing are the same generally across the board. Of course, there's gonna be little nuances and things that you'll change here and there that you'll adapt for your business. But the reality is, if you can just learn the principles of sales and marketing and business, you can be really successful basically in any type of business. And that information can be found in $20 or $30 books. It's insane what you can find in such a cheap thing. So before you go out and invest in courses and online coaching and all that kind of stuff, I would highly recommend going to books. Now you might be wondering, well, Eric, why do you say that? Don't you sell courses and coaching? Yeah, we do. We have some of the best courses and the best coaching programs out there. We've helped so many filmmakers grow to 6 figures, even now to 7 figures. And the reality is that yes, when you get to a certain point, coaching is the fastest way to get a result, is to learn from somebody who has done what you're trying to do and let them give you feedback and help you along your journey on the way there. So that's gonna be always the fastest way to do it. But if you're just getting started and you wanna learn some things, it's amazing what you can find in books. Now, if you're at that point where you do want to get help and you want that feedback and you want that coaching, let me know. Click on the link down below. I've got a free training that shows you our process that we've taken hundreds and thousands of filmmakers through at this point. And then if you like it, go ahead and book a call with us and we can chat and see if it's a good fit for us to work with you. All right, so with that being said, let's jump into my top 5 favorite business books for filmmakers. All right, so book number 1 is What to Do When It's Your Turn by Seth Godin. Now this book is phenomenal. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and especially for any type of entrepreneur, especially a creative or filmmaker or artist, learning how to get into business, this can be an extremely valuable resource for helping you to make the jump and take some of the risk that comes along with filmmaking. So whether you're a beginner and you're just starting your business for the first time, or you're a more advanced entrepreneur and you're thinking about that next jump or that next risk that you're gonna take, this book will do a really good job of helping you to think through the psychology of risk and what it feels like to have that fear and anxiety around doing things that are a little bit scary and why you should do them anyway. So the reason why it's called What to Do When It's Your Turn, and then the subtitle is And It's Always Your Turn, is because what he's talking about is when it's your turn means when you feel that calling, like you need to go out and do something, you need to go do something great, you need to start a business, you need to take a risk. When you feel that call or that figurative tap on the shoulder, what do you do in that situation? And like he says, it's always your turn, which means that calling, if you're an entrepreneur, that calling is always gonna be there. You're always gonna feel like you need to do something. And so what do you do? How do you handle that? How do you handle the fear and the anxiety and get over that and actually take that action to make things happen? So this book is actually the first book that we send to all of our coaching students, because everybody that signs up, this is the first thing I want them to read, because the reality is that there's a lot of anxiety and there's a lot of mindset stuff that happens around running a business. And this book will help you to tackle a lot of those things and get you started on the right foot. Okay, number 2 is Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. This is a classic book about building your brand as a filmmaker, as a business owner, about any type of business. And so when you get started in business, one of the most important things is really developing your brand. Who are you going to be? What kind of business are you gonna run? What result are you gonna help people get? Who are you going to serve? Who's gonna be your target market? And all those kind of things. And so developing that brand is incredibly important. Now, the big mistake that a lot of filmmakers make is that they develop their brand around themselves rather than around the people that they want to serve. And so this book will help you to really reframe that and start thinking about, well, who is my target market? Who am I actually talking to? And what are their desires and their dream outcomes? What are the things that they want to achieve? And how can I use my business to input into their business in order to help them to get the things that they want to get? Because ultimately, when it comes down to it, business is about helping people. It's about helping people get a result. And the more people you can help, the more money you're gonna make. That's just frankly how it goes. And so the way that Donald Miller frames the idea of building your brand is actually built around a story. And this is why I think a lot of filmmakers will like it, because it's actually built on solid storytelling principles. He talks about the hero's journey and the storytelling principles that they use even in Hollywood movies, and how you can build your brand around a story so that when a client comes to your website, they are following that hero's journey and they're able to go from being, the person that's stuck to eventually becoming the hero that gets the reward or the achievement using you as their guide in order to get there. And it's a really cool analogy and a really cool way of looking at how to build a brand. And so if you haven't checked out Donald Miller's story brand, Building a Story Brand, definitely check that book out. All right, number 3 is Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley. Now, this book is awesome when it comes to learning how to sell high ticket services. How do you charge high prices for your work? How do you get high paying clients? And how do you get people who otherwise probably wouldn't pay you high prices to pay you high prices and to want to work with you and to be lining up out the door waiting to get in the door in order to work with you? And so that's the subject that Oversubscribed basically covers. And the idea that Daniel Priestley talks about in the book is that high pricing and running a business and being able to be successful in business is all a matter of supply and demand. So if there's too much supply and there's too little demand, then those conditions will drive prices down. Whereas if there's not enough supply and there's a lot of demand, then it will drive prices up. It makes it so that you can charge high prices. So if you think about it, if you have a lot of people that want to work with you, but you're only a one-man band and you can only do like one video a month, then that's going to cause you to raise your prices really high. If you're able to work with a lot of people and you're constantly available and there's nobody that wants to work with you, then you're always going to be charging low prices. And so he takes that principle and he helps you understand that, like, here's how you can kind of, in a way, manufacture low supply and high demand in order to create an environment where your clients want to pay you those high prices. So it's a phenomenal book if you want to learn how to charge high prices, if you want to learn how to really just run any type of service business in a way that makes sense. And it has all these analogies about different companies and how they use this principle and how they use it to get those types of results and get people to pay them high prices. So Apple is like one example of this. Apple, every time a new iPhone comes out, there's lines of people lining up around the door just trying to get in the door so that they can buy the new iPhone, right? But you don't ever see that with anybody else's phones, right? And so the reason why that happens is there's a part of Apple where they actually manufacture a little bit of low supply because they want to make sure that there's high demand. And so they manufacture a smaller number of iPhones to make sure that they're going to sell out really fast, which causes the perception that there's high demand, there's low supply, which causes everybody to want to go and camp outside overnight and line up at the door in order to get the iPhone first. And so if you can use those principles in your filmmaking business, you can actually be even more successful and charge higher prices for your stuff because you'll be able to create that imbalance of supply and demand. All right, number 4 is The Pumpkin Plan. Now, this is a book that I love. This is by Mike Michalowicz. And in The Pumpkin Plan, Mike Michalowicz talks about how building a business and getting really good clients is kind of like growing a pumpkin. So basically, if you're a filmmaker who wants to work with just, a few really good clients, which is, by the way, the way that I typically recommend doing it. I think a lot of filmmakers get stuck in working with lots of clients and not really good clients, and then they're just overworked and then they get busy and then it's hard to run a business that way. But instead, if you focus on just a few really good big clients and you treat them like VIPs and you make it amazing, then you're able to build a better business that creates a better lifestyle and is actually a lot more fun. And so in this book, Mike talks about the pumpkin plan and how it's kind of like growing a pumpkin. When you're growing a pumpkin, if you want to grow the biggest pumpkin ever, a prize-winning pumpkin, it actually requires you to cut off all of the other little pumpkins that are stealing nutrients from the one big pumpkin. And so that's kind of like a business. If you really want to be successful working with really big clients, you've got to learn how to cut off the clients who are, in a way, stealing nutrients from you, that are stealing nutrients from the vine, that are taking your time and your resources that aren't really getting you anywhere, so that you can take those time and resources and reinvest them back into those few really big clients that are going to be the big game changers for you. And last but not least is a book called Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard. So we've kind of gone through the gamut of, taking the entrepreneurial risk, building your brand, sales and marketing, starting to get high prices and that kind of thing. Well, Raving Fans is all about delivery. How do you deliver a service, a product that just makes your customers and your clients turn into raving fans? Now, the cool thing about this book is it's actually written like a story. So you're kind of reading a story and he's teaching you all these principles of how to provide just amazing customer service and an amazing experience for your clients so that they become raving fans. And as he tells that story, you learn all these principles about how to treat your clients as VIPs in such a way that will make them not only want to work with you again, but also want to refer you to other people, talk about you, come back, hire you, get on retainer with you, so that you can make so much more money from the same clients. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, you can learn all of the sales and marketing principles in the world to bring in new work, to bring in clients. But if you're not able to retain a client and actually keep them hiring you over and over and over again and referring you to other people, you're always going to be struggling to bring in new people. So as a filmmaker, if you can learn how to get clients that want to work with you over and over again and rehire you and refer you to other people, it makes it so that you don't have to be as good at marketing and sales to constantly bring in new people, because you'll be able to make as much as you need to just from a handful of clients that keep hiring you over and over again. And so when it comes down to it, all of the sales and marketing is really important too, but I highly recommend Raveing Fans because it'll teach you how to create that experience so that people want to come back over and over. All right, guys, so there's my top 5 business books for filmmakers. What did you think? Which one was your favorite? Type it down in the comments below. Or if you've read any of these already, let me know what you think and which one was your favorite as you were reading them. Once again, as I mentioned before, books are an amazing resource for learning filmmaking and learning the business side of filmmaking. But if you're somebody who's at that level where you just need an extra help, you're looking for somebody to coach you, to guide you, to give you the feedback that you need on your work and on your business so that you can make the right moves and stop making mistakes and move so much faster, definitely watch the training down in the link below. It's 100% free training. It's like half an hour. I'll teach you our entire process for how we take filmmaking businesses from freelance filmmakers to growing to getting big clients, charging high prices, and even becoming a production company if that's what you want to do. So take a look at that link down below, watch the video. If it sounds like something that's interesting to you, then book a call with us and we'll hop on a call with you. We'll look at your business. We'll give you the next best steps for you to take in order to get to where you want to go. And if we feel like you're a good fit for us, we'll make you an invitation to work with us to help you to do that. So there's no pressure. It's a free training. I know you're going to love it. Check it out at the link down below, and we will see you guys next week on the next video. Bye-bye.